There is a sanctuary within the vast, labyrinthine architecture of your own consciousness. It is a room, a hidden chamber that you believe, with absolute certainty, you inhabit entirely alone. You sit there, perhaps in the velvet quiet of the early morning, or in the exhausted stillness of the late night. You intend to enjoy a moment of silence. You intend to focus on a simple task, the washing of a porcelain dish, the turning of a paper page, or the rhythmic, tidal rise and fall of your own breath. And then, without a knock, without the turning of a handle, without a single sound of warning, the door swings open. An intruder enters. It is a thought. It is not a guest you invited. It is not a visitor you prepared for. One moment, you are anchored in the sensory reality of the present, the warmth of the water, the texture of the paper, the coolness of the air. The next moment, you are abducted. You are violently transported from the sanctuary. Suddenly, you are reenacting a conversation from 10 years ago, feeling the phantom heat of an old argument rising in your chest. Your heart rate synchronizing with a ghost. Or, you are catapulted into a future that has not yet been written, constructing elaborate, high-definition catastrophes about a deadline, a romantic failure, or a financial ruin that exists nowhere in the universe except within the electrical firing of your own neural pathways. We treat these intrusions as if they are us. We say, with great conviction, I am thinking. But pause for a moment and ask the dangerous question, if you are the one thinking, why did you not choose the thought? If you are the master of this house, why do these uninvited guests wander in and out at will, tracking the mud of the past across the pristine floor of your awareness, rearranging the furniture of your emotions, and refusing to leave when you politely ask them to go? This brings us to the most haunting, vertigo-inducing question in the landscape of human philosophy. It is a question that stares back at us from the mirror of existence with unblinking eyes. If you are not the author of the voice in your head, then who is speaking? And if you are not your thoughts, then who exactly is the one hearing them? To answer this, we cannot rely on the surface-level platitudes of modern self-help. We must descend. We must journey into the ancient, subterranean wisdom of the East. We must walk the dust-covered path that the Buddha walked over 2.5 millennia ago, not as a religious devotee, but as a forensic scientist investigating the crime scene of the human condition. We must begin by dismantling the machinery of the mind itself. Have you ever truly stopped to consider the mechanics of a single thought? We move through life assuming that we are the thinker, a solid, permanent entity sitting behind the eyes, pulling levers, steering the ship, generating ideas like a factory generates smoke. But this is the first illusion. This is the primary deception we must shatter if we are to find any peace. The default mode of the untrained mind is chaos. It is a turbulent, storm-tossed sea. Buddhism offers a precise architectural blueprint for why this happens. It is known as Dependent Origination. This is a complex Sanskrit term for a simple, yet world-shattering truth: nothing arises in isolation. Nothing stands alone. Every phenomenon, every tragedy, every burst of joy, and every fleeting, intrusive thought is the child of 1,000 parents. A thought does not spring from a void. It is not a spark from nothingness. It is a reaction. It is a collision. A sensation on your skin triggers a dormant memory. that memory triggers a chemical cascade of emotion, that emotion triggers a narrative. It is a domino effect of infinite, terrifying complexity. You smell the scent of rain on hot asphalt. This sensation travels through the nervous system and unlocks the memory of a childhood home. That image brings up a feeling of loss, of time slipping away. That feeling creates a thought, I am lonely. You did not choose loneliness. You did not wake up and decide to feel isolated. The thought was assembled, piece by piece, by the conditions of the universe in that specific microsecond. Do you doubt this? Do you still believe you are the absolute monarch of your mental kingdom? Let us conduct an experiment right here, right now, in the laboratory of your own awareness. I want you to pause, stop everything. For the next few moments, I invite you to close your eyes. Your task is deceptively simple. I want you to predict your very next thought. Do not think it, predict it. Watch the blank screen of your mind like a cat watching a mouse hole. Wait for the next image, the next word, the next sound to appear. And tell me, before it arrives, exactly what it will be. Wait for it. Watch. Listen. Could you do it? In almost every case, the answer is a resounding no. You stood there, waiting, and the mind likely fell into a stunned silence. Or perhaps a random image popped up, a face from yesterday, a white elephant, a grocery list. But you could not forecast it. You could not schedule it. If you were truly the thinker, if you were the pilot of this vessel, you would know exactly what was coming next. You would have an itinerary. The fact that you cannot predict your next Wick's thought proves, with chilling clarity, that you are not generating them. You are experiencing them. You are not the radio station broadcasting the signal. You are the radio picking it up. This realization brings us to the precipice of the concept of the doctrine of no self. This is often the most terrifying, the most misunderstood, and the most liberating concept in the Dharma. It does not mean you do not exist. It does not mean you are a nihilistic void. It means you do not exist in the way you think you do. You are not a static noun. You are a flowing verb. Imagine a river. You stand on the muddy bank and watch the water rush by, violent and beautiful. We call it the river. We give it a name. We map it. But is the river a thing, or is it an event? The water that flows past your feet right now is different from the water that flowed a moment ago. The shape of the currents changes with the wind, the rainfall, and the shifting rocks beneath the surface. Your mind is that river. When the Buddha sat beneath the Bodhi tree, he did not see a soul in the traditional sense. He did not see a solid, unchangeable core. He saw a process. He saw thoughts rising like bubbles from the riverbed, shimmering for a moment, bursting, and dissolving back into the stream. He saw that there was no thinker separate from the thinking. There was just the flow. There was just the happening. We suffer because we try to freeze the river. We identify with the debris floating in the water. A thought arises, I am not good enough. Instead of seeing this as a passing leaf on the surface of the stream, a bit of flotsam carried by the current of history and biology, we grab it. We fish it out of the water. We hold it close to our chest. We say, this is me. This is my truth. This defines my worth. We build a raft out of our anxieties, and we cling to it, terrified of the current, terrified of letting go. The Buddhists have a name for this chaotic, grasping state. They call it the monkey mind. It is the aspect of consciousness that is never still, the creature that swings from branch to branch in the dense jungle of the psyche, never resting, never satisfied. It plans dinner while you are driving. It replays a mistake from work while you are trying to make love. It judges. It fears. It compares. What if I fail? They shouldn't he have said that? Did I lock the door? Am I lovable? This constant, deafening chatter creates a density. It creates a gravitational pull, a centrifugal force that makes us feel like there is a solid me in the center of the storm. But that me is just another thought. The thought I am the thinker is itself just a thought, a ripple in the water claiming to be the ocean. If you try to stop this river with your bare hands, you will drown. Have you ever tried to force your mind to be quiet? Have you ever commanded yourself to stop worrying? I will not think about the white elephant. Immediately, the elephant is all you see. It fills the room. The more you fight the current, the more turbulent the water becomes. The more you resist the intruder, the more violent the invasion. So, what is the alternative? If we cannot stop the river, and we cannot predict the river, and we cannot fight the river, what is left? We can climb out of the water. We can sit on the bank. This is the practice of, or mindfulness. It is not a trance. It is not checking out of reality. It is a radical act of checking in with a completely different quality of attention. It is the shift from being the character in the movie, lost in the drama, to becoming the screen on which the movie plays. When you practice mindfulness as laid out in the ancient, you are cultivating a non-judgmental, forensic awareness. You watch the thought, I am anxious, arise. You do not flinch. You do not argue. You simply acknowledge it. Anxiety is here. I see you. And then you watch it pass. You do not invite it for tea, and you do not slam the door in its face. You simply let it be. You allow the weather to move through the valley without becoming the storm. In that moment of pure observation, a miracle happens. A space opens up. It is a microscopic gap between the stimulus and your reaction. It is a sliver of silence. But in that gap lies your freedom. In that gap lies your dignity. Modern neuroscience, led by pioneers mapping the brain with fMRI machines, has begun to validate this ancient terrain. They have found that this practice physically restructures the gray matter of the brain. It thickens the prefrontal cortex, the CO of the brain, the seat of emotional regulation and logic, and it shrinks the amygdala, the primitive alarm bell of fear and survival. By simply observing the river without drowning in it, you are rewiring the landscape through which the river flows. You are changing the shape of the river itself. Let us try this shift in perspective now. Let us engage the mechanism of the witness. For a moment, become the sky. Let the thoughts come. Do not push them away. If a thought comes at the time, let it come. If a thought comes about your body, let it come. If a dark, jagged thought about the past arises, let it come. Treat them like clouds drifting across a vast, blue expanse. Notice the difference. The clouds are turbulent, but the sky is not. The clouds are gray or white or storm dark, but the sky has no color. The clouds are temporary. The sky is permanent. The sky is simply the space that holds them. The sky does not get wet when it rains. The sky does not get burned by the lightning. You are not the clouds. You are the sky. But the mind is cunning. The mind is a master of disguise. It will ask, if I am the sky, who is looking at the sky? We must go deeper now. We must go searching for the ghost in the machine. There is a feeling deep in the gut, deep in the somatic experience of being alive, that somebody is home. We feel that behind the eyes, there is a pilot steering this vessel. The Buddha, in his relentless, uncompromising pursuit of truth, challenged us to find this pilot. He demanded that we produce the body. He broke the human experience down into 5 components, the 5 aggregates, or, he said, look at your form. Is that the permanent self? No, it ages, it sickens, it changes, it turns to dust. Look at your feelings. Are they the self? No, they shift like the wind, fickle and fleeing. Look at your perceptions, your mental formations, and your consciousness itself. He invited his followers to dissect their own experience with the precision of a surgeon. Is this mine? Is this who I am? Is this myself? There is an archetype in the ancient texts of a seeker named Kamaka. He was a monk, deeply respected, an elder. Yet he was tormented by a lingering illness and a lingering doubt. He could not find the self. Yet he could not shake the feeling that it was there. He described it as the scent of a lotus flower. He said, I cannot say the scent belongs to the petals. I cannot say it belongs to the stalk, or the pistil, or the pollen. It pervades the flower, yet it cannot be located. Kamaka investigated. He looked at every thought, every sensation, every moment of awareness, and he realized that the vague sense of I am was just a feeling. It was a mental formation, a habit of the mind, a neural groove worn deep by repetition. It was not a solid entity. The moment he saw this, that the thinker was just another thought, his mind was liberated. He realized the house was empty. And in that emptiness, he found a peace that the world could not touch. Consider the legend of Queen Kima, a figure of legendary beauty and intellect. She was deeply attached to her identity, to her form, to the self that looked back at her from the polished bronze mirror. The legend tells us she encountered a vision of impermanence so striking, watching youth decay into dust in a matter of seconds, that the illusion of a solid, separate self shattered. She realized that what she thought was her was just a temporary arrangement of elements, borrowing stardust for a brief dance before returning it to the cosmos. When we stop taking our thoughts personally, the weight of the world drops from our shoulders. The heavy backpack we have carried for decades slips off. But a fear arises. If there is no self controlling the thoughts, does that mean we are helpless? Does it mean we are biological robots, drifting aimlessly? No, it means we are part of nature. It means we are gardeners. Think of a garden. You do not grab a flower and pull it upward to make it grow. You cannot force a rose to bloom by yelling at it. You create the conditions. You water the soil. You ensure there is sunlight. You remove the weeds. The flower grows on its own, according to the silent, invisible laws of nature. Your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are the vegetation. The specific thoughts you have today, the anxiety, the joy, the boredom, the inspiration, are the result of the seeds you planted yesterday and the year before and 10 years ago. If you planted seeds of anger, if you watered the weeds of resentment, you will harvest a jungle of bitterness. If you planted seeds of compassion, if you tended to the soil of patience, you will harvest blossoms of peace. This is the law of cause and effect. This is karma. We do not control the harvest in the moment it arrives, but we control the planting. We control the intention. And this brings us to the entity that is aware of the garden. Beyond the chatter, beyond the planning and the worrying, there is a silent witness. It is the aspect of you that knows you are reading or listening right now. It is not the voice reading the words, it is the ear listening to the voice. This awareness is often called luminous mind or clear light in the Tibetan traditions. It is the context for all content. It is the light that illuminates the room, regardless of who enters. Imagine a mirror. A mirror reflects everything that passes before it. It reflects beautiful, blooming roses, and it reflects rotting garbage. It reflects the warmth of a fire, and it reflects the cold of the ice. But ask yourself, does the mirror burn? Does the mirror rot? Does the mirror freeze? No, the mirror remains pristine. It remains unaffected by the reflections it holds. It accepts everything, rejects nothing, and clings to nothing. Your awareness is that mirror. You can experience deep grief, profound anger, or terrifying anxiety. These are the reflections. But the awareness that sees the grief is not grieving. The awareness that sees the anger is not angry. The awareness that witnesses the fear is not afraid. This is the cultivation of equanimity, or it is a state of balance so profound that you can stand in the center of the fire and not be consumed. It is not indifference. It is not a cold detachment. It is a courageous capacity to hold everything, the light and the dark, the agony and the ecstasy, without pushing the dark away or clinging desperately to the light. When the monk Intruder struggled with his meditation, confused and distracted by the chaos of his mind, the Buddha advised him to simply know the distraction, to not fight it, but to encompass it with awareness. Through this, Intruder found that the distraction was just energy. When observed without resistance, it dissolved into the vastness of his own mind, like a drop of ink dissolving in the ocean. We can access this vastness. It is always there. It is closer to you than your own breath. It is the silence between two thoughts. Usually, our thoughts are like a traffic jam, bumper to bumper, noise, exhaust, heat, no space between them. But as you practice, as you observe, gaps appear. A thought ends, and for a split second before the next one begins, there is silence. That silence is you. That silence is the home you have been looking for. That silence is the sanctuary that the intruder can never touch. So, how do we live this? How do we bring this high philosophy down into the mud and blood of daily life? We cannot spend our lives sitting in caves or under trees. We have bills to pay, relationships to navigate, complex problems to solve. The Buddha was a pragmatist. He did not say stop thinking. That would be impossible. He said think wisely. He distinguished between thinking that leads to suffering and thinking that leads to freedom. He called this wise attention. It is the difference between being lost in a maze and looking at a map of the maze from above. Imagine you are facing a complex problem, perhaps a financial crisis or a difficult creative project. The untrained mind attacks this problem with anxiety. What if I fail? I am not smart enough. This is a disaster. This is the monkey mind throwing rocks at the window. It solves nothing, it only creates noise. The trained mind approaches it differently. It sets an intention. I need to solve this. Then it observes. It watches the ideas arise. It sees the frustration come up and says, frustration. It does not identify with the frustration. It gives the problem space. It allows the solution to emerge from the silence rather than forcing it through the noise. There is a famous parable of the raft. The Buddha said his teachings are like a raft used to cross a dangerous river. You gather the wood, you tie the logs together, you build the raft. You paddle across the treacherous currents, fighting the waves, until you reach the safe shore. Once you are on the safe shore, once you are on solid ground, would you pick up the heavy, waterlogged raft, strap it to your back, and carry it through the forest for the rest of your journey? Of course not. That would be foolish. That would be madness. The raft has served its purpose. You leave it at the riverbank. You walk on unburdened. Thoughts are the raft. They are tools. Use them to plan your life. Use them to analyze. Use them to learn from the past. Use them to communicate love. But do not carry them on your back when they are no longer needed. Do not carry the thought of the argument you had at breakfast into your evening rest. Do not carry the heavy logs of your past identity into the freedom of your future. Leave the raft at the river. Living with this understanding is a subtle art. It is a practice of seconds, not years. It begins with the micro moments. When you feel the tightening in your chest that signals stress, pause. Take one conscious breath. Step back from the thought. Ask yourself who is observing this stress. In that split second, you break the chain. You step out of the karmic cycle of blind reaction. You become the sky, not the cloud. You become the mirror, not the reflection. We began with a question: if you are not your thoughts, who is thinking them? The answer is not a word. The answer is not a concept you can grasp with the intellect. The answer is a direct experience of silence. The Buddha often answered metaphysical questions with noble silence. He knew that words would only create more thoughts, more nets to get tangled in. The ultimate answer is found when the question itself dissolves. There is no little man inside your head. There is no separate pilot. There is life unfolding. There is consciousness witnessing. There is a vast, luminous, interconnected web of existence arising and passing away in a dance of infinite complexity. And you, the real you, the one beyond the name, beyond the history, beyond the chatter, you are the space in which the dance happens. You are not the wave. You are the ocean. Rest in that knowing and be free.